Yo voy a tener mi computador cerca como para que parezca que es una cámara y no un computador.
All right, David, we are live now.
Hello everyone, my name is David Sedano, a Colombian journalist from Australia, that lives in Australia, and my colleagues, my friends, and the Latin American people who is around me, usually even my relatives that are here. We're really concerned about what's happening at this moment in our country, and also in general in the Latin American continent at the moment. There is apparently an apparent excessive use of the public force against the civil society and like the army and the polices. They are shooting their guns against people who are protesting, and many of the people, most of the people who are protesting, they are doing it just nothing really bad. It's just a normal protest, and many of those people are elder people, young people, are kids, are families. So it's a very hard situation that we are at the moment living in our country. And from far away, it's really hard to see that this is happening in our country. So we are doing this in English from Australia. Usually, the public from our channel LA TV, it's in Spanish because this is for people who are interested. The content that we create in this channel is just for people who are interested in whatever is happening, interesting in Australia, like nice news, positive news, most of them. So we are trying to just to focus in Spanish to talk about the things that we know from Australia in Spanish. But in this time we have to do it in English because we want to explain to everyone what's happening in our country and in with the government. So it's really hard to explain like the full story of our country right now, but somehow everyone in the world knows that Colombia is being trying to recover from that hard moment of the narcos and all those situations that made our country very unstable politically, and we are just trying to recover from all that with our artists, with our nice people who are trying to talk culturally from the sports point of view, from the cultural point of view, the painters, the writers, the musicians, and all that people are trying. We're trying to recover from that, and at the moment there is a really a situation really similar internally in our country to the things that were happening when that a narcos cartels came into our country. Like there is a lot of blood coming out from people who are trying to defend the country, to defend our future generations, and there is a lot of protests at the moment because in Colombia there is an excessive inequality. So there is a very small portion of very rich but very rich people, and there is a large population who don't have much opportunities to live like a human being. So all these are happening in our country, and it's really hard from here, from Australia, that far away, to see that that's happening, and it's really hard to do something from here because they're protesting. Our families are there, our brothers, our sisters, our aunties and grandparents, they are there, and there's not much that we can do from here more than reposting whatever is happening there, so the world can have a view about what's happening there. So it's important to know which is our role in this moment for the Colombian people and the Latin American people who are far away, just to explain in all the languages that we can what is happening at the moment, because everyone needs to know that we have a very beautiful green country that is being overexploited by people who wants to get the gold from our mines, and the only one way to get the gold from our mines and from our mountains is basically cutting the water, a source from the population. Once you cut the water, you can explode the mines and get the gold, and the people are going to be without water in many areas of our country. So we're not going to be possibly, if this keeps happening, if this corruption keeps happening, so the our country and the Colombian Green Mountains, they're not going to be green anymore. They're going to be deserted mountains, and that's a really hard situation. And that's all what's happening in the country at the moment. That people are sick of the high amounts of corruption that is been taking. Like few families are the owners of the country, according to the history, and also it's a hard to see that there is people like that. People in these images that you can see that people are fighting against that system that it's a it doesn't looks like it doesn't feels like a state of law like in the Great Britain or the state of law that was born in the French Revolution. So because the executive power, the parliament power, and the rest of the powers of the nation, they are owned by the same group of families. So it feels like we are in a monarchy for not only one family, but maybe few families who are the owners of the uh, banks in a in of the banks of I mean of the biggest business of the country, and just because they are lending money from the world banks, just because of that sort of reason, they need to maintain the money that we have, the richness that they have, and they want the poor people who don't have money, who don't have jobs, they want that people to pay the money that they are lending from the banks, from the international banks, and they want to maintain the richness intact. So they don't want to lose any coin from their pockets. So it's also important to know that those sort of things are happening because we have a very divided country at the moment. So there is a big, huge, smaller population that are getting against this apparently corrupted system. But at the same time, we can see that it's a wait, someone's calling. We can see that at the same time, the things that are happening in our country are happening because that needed to happen at some point. Just wait a second. So let's have a look at some of the images, some of the things that we have catch about what's happening there, the protests that we can see from here. So basically, the people who you can see in this main place of Bogota, that's the main square from Colombia, basically, because in one side of that square you've got the local government from Bogota, and in the other side is a government, a national government house, and in the other side is the Justice Palace. That actually on the 80s it was burned by a Pablo Escobar and his friends, and decided to justify the the Palace of Justice in the late 80s. In that square, you guys can have at the right. We can not see at the moment, but in that square, the main cathedral, Catholic, a Christian Catholic a cathedral, is in that main square. Um, what the government basically in Colombia they want to do is to change the taxation rules, the taxation laws in the middle of a pandemic, and in short words, just ask the people to pay for the loans of a country that's not been managed like very well. So they want to find money the way they could, and the only uh, thing they have is gold and their mountains. So it's not fair just to know that there is a lot of gold in the bank to negotiate, and they don't want to get rid of that gold, or they don't want to negotiate with that gold, and they want to get the gold from the mines of the country. And as I said at the beginning, the country of Colombia wants to exploit the government. They want to exploit the gold mines of the country, and the gold mines are under the mountains where the pure water comes from to basically to feed people. All the country, all the water of the country, most of the water of the country, of a big part of the country comes from that mountain, and the government they want to um, explode the mines of that mountains. It doesn't matter if there's no more water or not. So it's a little bit hard to see that situations happening. A lot of corruption in the government, and it's the main protest that Colombia have after the last protest that the country had. A few months ago, almost more than a year ago, Colombia was already on the streets. People in general, the people were protesting in the streets, and um, because of COVID, everyone had to go back and stay at home. And the corruption that is happening at the moment is the same corruption that was happening before COVID, before the pandemic. So by now, that the things are out of control. There is no money, cash flow that much in the country, and the things that are getting like quite hard. So this is the moment when the a country, the government would be supporting the people instead of just keeping the in the banks the richness of the full country. So the situation is pretty hard because what they want to do is to change the rules, the taxation rules, and ask the people, the poor people, to pay the loans of the banks because of the an state that's been not managed very well. So it's a little bit tricky to understand that sort of things are happening at the moment. But from our seats, from our houses outside of the country, the people who live in Australia, New Zealand, and in Japan, because we know that there is people who live in Japan, from Colombia, the people who live in the rest of the world basically come from Colombia. We can help in this way, just trying to communicate what's happening there without being exaggerated, just telling the history of the country. Now that there are many people in the world, I'm trying to find out what's Colombia, part of Pablo Escobar, is a great opportunity for they to know that the things that are happening because of many reasons, and all the world has to as something to know and to do for Colombia because of many things that possibly the world doesn't know because of the bloody drugs cartels and their business. So I'm gonna leave you with this live things that are happening in this moment in Colombia, and then we're gonna try to connect to more of our followers and more of our network in Colombia to see if they can send us some live videos in this moment, because apparently what's happening is that the internet is not working in some areas of Colombia at some point from 12 to 1, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. there is no internet in some suburbs, and many things are happening in those suburbs at the moment. So we're going to try to help just posting some of the live videos like this one from what's happening in this moment, just in case if something happened and no one else can see that because there's not internet. So I'm gonna leave you guys with these cameras that are helping us in this moment to broadcast what's happening at the moment with a live camera shooting. So after this, we're gonna see if it's possible to find more sources of information, and at the same time we're gonna be telling you everyone just when we can, just to tell you guys a bit of the history about what's the context of a what's happening at the moment in Colombia. The buildings that you guys can see there, you can see those buildings that are covered with the black sheets, and it's basically because um, they don't want the buildings to be destroyed by the manifestants, by the protesters in the main square of the government. Because it's also, and people need to know, and that those buildings um, are one of the most old. They are some of the oldest buildings um, built by the Spanish crown in the colonization period. And all those buildings were designed through the history since then. And that's the main square of the capital in Colombia. And the people still there just waiting to see if the government is gonna keep shooting guns against people. However, I need to correct this information in this moment, because these images that you guys can see in this moment, they were from the 5th of May, from 24 hours ago, when people were protesting before the army was shooting guns against the population. Exactly not in this point, because they were not shooting the state. They were not shooting guns against their own buildings, of course, but they were shooting guns against the just poor areas of the country, against the some yeah, of course, there's protest. The protest is not only in the main square of Colombia, but is also in the rest of the suburbs as well. Like, people are protesting everywhere, in every single suburb from Colombia. They are protesting, and they're not happy at all with what's happening in at the moment. The way the country is being managed by a few families, according to what they report, it's what it's getting all those people out in the streets, as you guys can see. There is, you can see young people. Most of them, they're young people. People between 19 years and 45 years, according to some of the sources of information that we have here. Most of the people are people in between the 19 years and 45 or even 50 years. If you want to support us and give us a bit of just brand awareness with yourself and with the people who are watching us, don't forget to follow us in our main channels and our YouTube channel. You just have to type LATV Latinos, and that's gonna be the easiest way to find our channel in YouTube. Just LATV Latinos in Australia Televisión. Also, you can find us on Instagram with at LATV Media. And also you can find us on Facebook with our name, LATV Latinos in Australia Television, to follow up more live videos. For the moment, we're gonna keep informing people in English in this moment because we want to offer that service to our um, people in Colombia. What we can do from Australia is just to communicate in English what's happening there, so people can know what's going on there. Um, the main reason why we're gonna do this live video from Australia, it's because basically we want to talk in the following weeks only in English because we want to feel a little bit useful here in Australia. So we are in this moment very far away from our country, but the only one way that we can help people in this moment from there is just trying to say what they're trying to say from the streets in English, in the just reprojecting the live videos that people are doing from their phones, and also some live channels that are doing their own live videos. So we are trying just to give just a quite live update about what's happening right there in Colombia. I'm trying to say the things in English because that's what we can do from that far away. So we're gonna keep informing about what's happening there in the following days, and the things that we're gonna be saying them in English, so people can find out what's happening, what's really happening in Colombia. In short words, the government wants to um, get a more money, get more taxes, because the government needs to pay more money to the international banks for the loans that they are doing to recover the economy from the country. But the problem with this is that the rich families from the country, apparently they don't want to use any coin to pay the mortgage of the country. So it's a little bit hard to know that there is a new taxation that wants to be new taxation system that wants to be implemented in the middle of the pandemic, and the taxation to food is going to be increased. The taxes to for retail, for food, for water is going to increase in the following um, months, and the following 2 or 3 years, and the following years, because the a new taxation system is going to be is signed by the parliamentarians. However, the president of Colombia, Ivan Duque, he has stopped the taxation new system rules, and for that reason, the protest at the moment, they are a little slow down, because there was many people that also has suffering a lot um, for the for the new problems in Colombia. So the New York Times says in the headline, it was horrible. 19 people died in the manifestations of Colombia. The manifestations for a new fiscal reformation, linked to the pandemic, it's been transformed. It became a protest, a national protest for the increasement of the poorness, unemployment, and inequality. And inequality is one of the most important things that the people in Colombia they try to um, be against with, because there is a lot of money accumulated. There's a lot of gold in the Colombian banks, and they don't want to lose a cent, and they don't want to lose anything, and they basically want everyone to pay for the money that the a government had to loan from the international banks. So that is a problem, because everyone is trying to be against a system that people needs to pay the problems of the government, the bad management of the country. So most of the things that we're going to be talking about in this studio for the moment, in the following weeks, in the following couple of weeks, we're gonna try to do this and do it a bit better day by day. But in the following days, we're gonna be telling everyone what's happening at the moment. The main headlines from Colombia: the people who have been banned from a social media because of the true things that they are trying to say, people who have been banned from the government in, and we're going to see what's going to happen with our colleagues, the journalists in Colombia, how the journalism is going to be working in the following months, because we're going to see also if there is any human rights problem with our colleagues, the journalists. See if they have a freedom of expression as the United Nations organization has in the main letter, to have a included in the human rights a freedom of expression. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen with our colleagues in a Colombia, with the journalists, and we're gonna keep reporting from these live videos what's happening in our country, because the service that we can offer, it's doing only this from this far away, from Australia, from Spain, from Germany, from Japan, all the Colombians outside of our country. We should try to do this, try to communicate what we can, so the world can really find out what's happening in our country. That's the only way to explain it in English, and this is what we're going to be doing in the following months. In the following weeks, we're going to be trying to explain what's been happening. We're going to try to make it better in the following days. For the moment, this is what it is, like Donald Trump would say. So just to stay in touch, and if everyone wants to follow us to find out the things that are happening in Colombia and Latin America in English, we're going to be doing it in the following weeks in our main channels of YouTube, LATV, Latinos in Australian Television, Facebook, LATV, Latinos in Australian Television, and also on Instagram. You can follow us as LATV Media. And if anyone wants to send us an email, or if anyone wants to get in touch with us or send us any information, anyone can send us an email to info@latv.media. Info@latv.media. Send us an email and send us information that you wanted to be broadcasted in this YouTube channel from Latinos in Australian Television. Thank you. It's a I'm journalist. Hello, everyone. My name is David Serrano. I am journalist, a Colombian journalist, and me, myself, my colleagues, and the people who live around us in Australia and around the world, we are pretty concerned for the situation about what's happening in Colombia in this moment. There is an apparently excessive use of the public force against the civil society, and apparently the internet it's been cut in some areas of the country as well, of the metropolitan parts of the city. So we're gonna be talking about what's happening in Colombia shortly, like in few parts of our videos. Uh, but in this live video, we're gonna be telling everyone in English what's happening there according to the live videos that people are trying to broadcast from Colombia. As we know, their internet is not working very well in some areas, and what people are trying to say from the protests is that the internet is being cut by the government. We don't know. We are not 100% sure about that, but we need to. The only thing that we can do to find out if that's a right is, or just to try to explain to everyone what's happening in Colombia is just trying to say the things in the second or the third language that we know how to talk about. So it's important for everyone to know what's happening there, because um, not only it's a problem that is going to be happening in all the countries that are managed in the same way that Colombia has been managed. At the moment, there is as always in the last decades, it's a very small circle of people trying to manage the country, just a small a group of families, and they are managing from the government the country. So it's spoken that in Colombia there is no social state of law, because few families are managing the executive, the parliament, and the judicial power, the justice power. So it's also said by the protesters that the tax reform and the protests are the consequences of uncountable injustices in Colombia, and the government has apparently um, committed again committed to get out the country from this a bad situation, economical situation that it's happening for the moment. But they are doing it just trying to change the taxation system just to get the poor people to pay for the Colombian government is trying to loan from the international banks. So what we can do from here, we cannot do that much from Australia. We cannot do that much from a far away, but we can do what we can do is just trying to explain in the best way we can what is happening now, right now, in the languages that we know. This is also an opportunity to the world to know what is Colombia. As everyone knows, Colombia has been distinguished by the world because of what happened in our country in the late 80s and early 90s as well. All the narco traffic wave that came from Colombia to the rest of the world, and that left the consequences that are happening right now. The country was getting better, but because of COVID, of course, the inequality it's very much easier to see. So there is not much middle class apparently is what the people are trying to say. There's no more middle class because the more middle class will be disappeared by the government, because there are people who are paying less taxes, and they have a rich. That's what they're trying to say. But also there is a problems with a corruption and justice in all around the country. So people are protesting because it's a slogan that in Colombia there is no social state of law, and that's a very concerning situation, because also the United Nations, they were looking at with the witnesses. They saw what's happening in Colombia, and they could witness that the Colombian force was shooting guns against the population when they were just protesting with the families, with the friends, even with the grandparents and kids. So it's a what a concerning situation what's happening there, and all what we can do is just trying to say the things in a different language, so the message can be given to the rest of the world with the things that are happening right now. So if anyone want to send us extra information about what's happening in Colombia right now, you guys can send us an email to info@latv.media, info@latv.media. So just send us an email with the link or with the extra information that you have, and let us know what you have. We can also broadcast whatever you guys can send it to us. And for the moment, we're gonna leave you everyone with these images about what's happening right now in Colombia, and we're gonna keep broadcasting the Colombian citizens who are trying to broadcast from their phones the things that are happening, literally happening at the moment. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is David Sedano, journalist from Colombia, who from Australia. My colleagues, my friends, and the people who are around me, the Latin American people who are around me, we are very concerned about what's happening in Colombia at the moment. Apparently, there is an excessive use from the public force against the civil society, and the things that we can do from Australia and from overseas is not much. So as Colombians, what we can do is, and from as Latinos, what we can do is just trying to explain what is really happening in Colombia in this moment. And the things that we're going to be saying in the following weeks today and in the following weeks is going to be in English, because that's what we can do. Just trying to broadcast what's happening live and what's been happening in the previous days from some influencers and from some citizens' phones live videos, just to explain to the world in English what is happening in Colombia. The main thing that the government wants to do is to change the taxation system, the taxation rules, and then the taxation to the people, the taxes to the people, and they want the government apparently wants the people to pay the consequences of an irresponsible managed state. That's what the protesters are saying, and is spoken that in Colombia there is no social state of law because few families manage the executive, legislative, and the parliament, the parliament, and the justice power as well. It is also said by the protesters that the tax reform and the protesters are consequences of the uncountable unfair situations that the government has apparently committed against the same people. So this is a very concerning situation, and there's not much we can do from far away more than trying to explain in with the tools that we have, trying to explain to the world in the languages that Colombians and the people from Latin America we are trying to explain in English and in the languages that we know, trying to explain to the world what is happening. So that's the main reason why we are doing this live video from what's been broadcasted by the influencers in Colombia and people, citizens that are trying to broadcast situations from their phones and things that usually you don't see regularly in the main news channels who are sponsored also by the government. So this video that you guys can see at the moment, we're gonna leave everyone with this video to close this broadcasting. Is the live video from Camilo Pardo. He is an influencer that in Colombia is trying to broadcast what's happening in the middle of the population, in the middle of the protest, and we're just basically gonna see what is happening there and trying to explain in English a part of the situation. LATV is a Latino channel and Spanish content channel that is in Australia, in Sydney. It's based in Sydney, and if you know people who are in Australia and or people who are in Colombia, and you've got the Instagram, the social media accounts from them, so we can reach to them, so you can share this with them. That would be amazing, because that's part of the few things that we can do from overseas. Thank you for following us, and don't forget to subscribe in our channels in LATV, Latinos in Australian Television, and YouTube, and also on Instagram, and a LATV Media. You can find us also on Facebook with the name LATV Latinos in Australian Television. And you can also send us recommendations and things that you know to our email address info@latv.media. My name is David Sedano. I'm a journalist from Colombia that's living in Sydney. And thank you so much for following our LATV channel. We'll see you next time. We're gonna leave you with the images from a Camilo Pardo, the influencer, Colombian influencer, who's trying to broadcast what's happening there. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time for 2 hours.